Hi, I'm Andy, and welcome to a WatchCrave video. Today, we'll be having a look at another Seiko, the SPB317, otherwise known as the Slim Turtle or Slim Captain Willard. This Slim Turtle is a reinterpretation of an older Seiko watch, the Seiko 6105-8000. The original watch was a follow-up to the Seiko 62 Mas and was produced only for a couple of years from 1968 to 1970. After 1970, the watch was replaced by the ever-popular Captain Willard. I actually had no interest in picking up this watch as I already owned an SPB143. That thought changed when I saw it at a random shopping mall during my vacation last year. The watch looked stunning and stood out amongst all the other watches on display. I went home and did my research on the watch and started to keep an eye out for any good deals. Luckily, one of the jewelry stores in my city had a 25% off deal for this watch during the Christmas period last year, so I pulled the trigger and bought it online via their website. Upon receiving the watch, I quickly discovered that it has a major defect. There was something wrong with the threading on the crown tube, which prevents the crown from being locked and unlocked correctly. The crown would often become stuck when I tried to unscrew or screw it back in. As my excitement quickly turned into disappointment, I got in touch with the store via a phone call to talk about this issue. You see, the store is in my city, but it's quite far from where I live, hence why I purchased it online without actually inspecting the watch first. Over the phone, they told me that I had to bring the watch in and they'll have to send it to Seiko to check out the issue. It is also unlikely that I can just simply swap it with another watch, as I've already received the warranty that is linked to the watch serial number. Luckily, I happen to live near a Seiko service center, so I decided to skip the middleman and went straight to Seiko. I went to the service center and dropped off the watch just before Christmas and finally got it back a couple of weeks ago. In total, it took almost 4 months for the watch to be fixed. If we minus the public holidays, it still took a bit over 3 months. I was told by the friendly staff at the service center that the actual repair took less than a week and the rest of the time was waiting for parts to arrive. Kudos to the staff at the service center though, as they were extremely friendly and helpful throughout the whole process. Based on what I can see on the invoice, the repair includes a new crown, new stem, new case, a service and a pressure test. That's a pretty major makeover, I reckon. The repair was of course free of charge, as the watch was bought brand new. There was actually one small positive outcome of this whole ordeal. The bezel was slightly misaligned by 1mm when I first received the watch, but that seemed to have been fixed with the new case. So yeah, if you're buying an expensive Seiko, buy it in person and inspect the watch if possible. Otherwise, there's a small chance you may be waiting for a while before you can actually wear it. With that rant out the way, let's continue on with the video. As for variations, beside this watch, there are a few more options to choose from. First, we have the stainless steel white SPB313, then the SPB315, and this black SPB317, and a special edition SPB333. All versions, except for the black SPB317, come with a stainless steel 5-links bracelet. The SPB317, this watch here, comes with a rubber strap. I've also heard that the black one is exclusive to Seiko boutique stores in certain regions. As for the price, the special SPB333 is the most expensive with a retail price tag of $1,300 before tax. The other two bracelet versions are $1,100 and the rubber strap SPB317 is the most affordable, coming in at $900. It's always with Seiko watches, unless you really want it, wait for a good sale to get your money's worth. For the packaging, since I got this watch from a local store, this is the packaging for the Oceania region. First, we have a pretty thick outer Seiko box that houses the inner watch box. There is no physical manual or guarantee, as those are now offered in digital form in this region. Now with all of that out the way, let's check out the watch dimensions and specs. The watch has a diameter of 41mm, it is exactly 12.5mm thick. Unlike some other prospect divers, the Seiko Wave logo on the case actually sits flush against the caseback. The lug width is 20mm. For the lug-to-lug, I measured to be about 46.5mm. It is about 0.5mm shorter than the SPB143 I reviewed a while ago. For the watch glass, the watch has a slightly domed sapphire crystal with blue AR coating on the inner side. In terms of water resistant, this watch has a water rating of 200 meters. This is a proper dive watch that is fully compliant with the ISO diver watch requirements. On the stock silicone rubber strap, the watch weighs in at about 100 grams. For the movement, this watch is running with the Seiko 6R35 movement. The 6R35 is a mid-level Seiko workhorse movement that beats at 3 Hz or 21,600 beats per hour. It offers a power reserve of about 70 hours, has a date complication, and also hex and hand wind. In terms of accuracy, Seiko states the accuracy range is -15 to +25 seconds per day. For this particular watch, I measure it running at +4 seconds per day. Next up, let's have a look at the watch exterior and design. The watch sports a cushioned case made from stainless steel. It is brush finish on the top and sides. No fancy chamfer edges here, just a simple brush case. The lugs are drilled, which makes changing strap a breeze. The case is also coated with a superficial layer of Seiko's DiaShield coating to help with scratches prevention. As always with Seiko watches, there's no sharp point or edges to worry about. The back of the case is polished, and we have a screw-down case back decorated with the Seiko Wave logo in the center. The surrounding part of the case back is laser printed with the Seiko and Prospect logo, along with the serial number and other decorative text. Overall, the case finishing is decent, but nothing to write home about. Moving on to the crown, we have a screw-down crown that is polished and protected by the case crown guard. The crown is unsigned, and now that it has been fixed, it's very comfortable to grip and operate very smoothly. As I mentioned earlier in the video, originally there was a defect with the crown too, but that problem has now been fixed. For the bezel, we have a 120 clicks unidirectional rotating bezel. The bezel is well finished, smooth to the touch, easy to grip, and also operates well. The bezel insert is made of aluminium. It's painted black and decorated with your usual diving timer in a silvery paint. One thing to note is that it is a bit thinner compared to other Seiko Prospect Divers bezel, which makes sense as this is a slim turtle. There's a lume pip at the 12 o'clock position. The lume pip itself is recessed and protected by a top glass, so it won't get dirty and patina easily. As for the alignment, I can happily say that the bezel insert is well aligned. When I first got the watch, the alignment was slightly off by a millimeter, but it's perfectly aligned now. Anyway, here's the bezel sound. Onto the watch strap, we have a rubber strap made from silicone. It's pretty thick, but quite comfortable to wear. The keeper and buckle are made from stainless steel and signed with the Seiko logo and text. Overall, it's a pretty decent rubber strap, albeit a bit too long and thick for my small wrists. Next up is a dial. To start, we have a full set of applied indices on a matte black dial. The edges of the indices are polished, and the inner part is filled with Seiko Lume Bright. Below the 12 o'clock, we have a Seiko logo printed in silver. Above the 6 o'clock, we have the Prospect logo and decorative text, also printed in silver. Finally, between the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock indices, we have a small circle cutout that features a black date window. This means that unlike many other Seiko watches, this watch has a full index at the 3 o'clock position. There are some who aren't a fan of this date layout, but personally, I'm a fan of it. For the hands, we have a set of batons hand for the hour and minute, a thick one for the hour and a thinner one for the minute. These two hands are slightly beveled from the center and are brush finished on one half and polished on the other. This creates a sort of 3D effect when looking at them. Both hands are filled with Seiko Lume. The second hand is a paddle style hand and is polished. The paddle part is divided into two halves, an accented half with a painted red dot and another with the lume. Finally, at the end of the dial, we have a chapter ring printed in silver. The rehaut looks to be quite thin as well. I reckon the dial is the best part of this watch. It's extremely legible and may look a bit boring at first. However, the polished edges on the indices and hands reflect light and sort of create this shimmering effect, making the watch look rather shiny. The somewhat simple and understated case also helps make the dial stand out even more. The pictures that you see online don't really do this watch enough justice. You really need to see it in person. At least that was the case for me. Moving on to the lume, Seiko dive watches are known to have decent lume, and this watch is no exception. The lumes are bright, legible, and last for a good amount of time. There's also no date window at the 3 o'clock position, so we have a full set of lume indices. It is truly amazing to look at. In terms of wrist fit, thanks to the somewhat short lug-to-lug of 46.5mm, the watch itself sits pretty snugly on my wrist and is very comfortable to wear. However, the rubber strap is way too long and looks a bit too chunky for my tiny wrist. Because of that, I switched out the rubber strap with an aftermarket bracelet I bought previously for the SPB143. If your wrist size is smaller than 6.5 inches, I recommend looking into buying an aftermarket strap or bracelet. As a SPB317 rubber strap may be a bit too long for your wrist. So, what are my thoughts about this watch? Well, besides the somewhat big problem at the beginning, there's nothing majorly bad I can say about the watch. This is subjective, but for me, this is an almost perfect watch. First of all, the watch has great dimensions and will fit any sorts of wrist sizes. The case finish isn't something to write home about, but it's still quite decent. There's no sharp points or edges, which makes the watch very comfortable to wear. The bezel and crown are also very comfortable to grip and also operates very smoothly. I'm a big fan of the dial. It's well finished, it's very legible, and shines when viewed at different angles. I also quite like the date cutout between the 4 o'clock and the 5 o'clock indices. It's a great compromise for a fully loomed 3 o'clock index. It would be even better if Seiko just got rid of the date and released a no-date slim turtle or 62 mask. Finally, the watch is a pretty good value for money Seiko. Now, I do not think that Seiko watches are good value for money in general these days, but this watch provides good value when compared to other Seiko watches. When compared to other Seiko Prospect divers in the same tier, the Slim Turtle line is actually a bit more affordable. The bracelet version of the Slim Turtle retails at $1,100 versus the 62 mask and Captain Willard retailing at $1,200 and $1,300 respectively. Personally, I think that this particular SPB317 is a pretty good deal at $900. For less than $1,000, you get a very well built and reliable watch that will last for ages. I also have a feeling that this watch may end up becoming a rarity if the Slim Turtle line get discontinued in the future. And that brings us to the end of this video. What do you think about this watch? Are you interested in getting your hands on one? If you already got one, what are your thoughts about the watch? Feel free to drop a comment down below and let us know. I hope this video helped you in some ways. If you find it enjoyable or helpful, please drop a like and subscribe for future videos. As a growing channel, I really appreciate your support. Until next time.